I have a question for you. Is there something from your childhood that you remember bringing you joy, but if you were to go back and revisit it, those feelings would be tainted? Is it better to rely on your own rose-tinted memory, or is it better to confront it head-on? That's how I feel about Super Mario Logan. Show of hands, who knows Chef PP? Alright, good. Super Mario Logan is a channel I'm sure I don't need to explain to you. If you were a kid in the early 2010s with internet access, you have probably seen one or two of these videos. Created by Logan 30acre, the channel's content followed the same basic plot structure throughout its original 600 or so episodes. 3 friends sit on a couch: Bowser Jr., Joseph, his friend from school, and Cody Dennis Nutkiss. One of them, usually Jr., either decides to do something in which his friends follow, or something is dropped upon him, which his friends also follow. They then get started with whatever they're doing that day until it eventually ramps up in intensity, ending with either everything going back to normal or at least one of them being horribly maimed. And that was the status quo. Sometimes there would be other characters involved, but the premise was still the same. 3 friends sitting on a couch. That's the Super Mario Logan you and I are familiar with. But for some of you, there might be a piece missing. Specifically, a character. A character that, for lack of a better term, did not exist. At least until 2016, as 2016 is when a new character would be added. A character that would go on to outshine Junior and his friends, and become the face of Super Mario Logan as we know it today. That character is Jeffy. Jeffy was introduced in the episode Mario the Babysitter, uploaded on January 24th, 2016. The episode was a standard Super Mario Logan video for its time, but for some reason, Jeffy would explode in popularity, until it reached the point that the entire series is now centered around him. When Jeffy was first introduced, people despised him, and I'm not exactly sure why. I can understand why they think that nowadays Jeffy is fucking insufferable. Well, back then, he was an alright character. He was a kid with a mental disability, and yeah, it's played for jokes, but he's not a bad guy. In most cases, Mario ends up being overly cruel to Jeffy, not the other way around. I digress. Some people say Super Mario Logan died when Jeffy was introduced, but that would be an exaggeration at best and outright wrong at worst. In my eyes, Super Mario Logan died on February 11th, 2021. Logan did what any person does when they wake up. He checked the mail. There was the usual bills, ads, mail of a miscellaneous third variety, but today, there is something different. A letter from Nintendo. A cease and desist letter from Nintendo. This letter forced Logan to rename all of his channels to remove any mention of the company's characters. Super Mario Logan became just SML. This letter also made Logan stop using the plushies he had used since the channel's creation. Instead, they became human puppets. Bowser Jr. became Braxton Jr. Mario became Marvin. Rosalina became just Rose. Super Mario Logan was dead. All that remained was SML. Occasionally, I will go back and rewatch old Super Mario Logan videos. They remind me of when I was a kid, when I tried to make my mark on this platform with crude, barely coherent Five Nights at Freddy's plush videos. Obviously, Logan's work was better produced right out of the gate, but it makes me wonder what could have been. Is there a different universe where I kept making plush videos, eventually gaining a following much like Logan? It's hard to say. I don't think it would have ever happened, but I'm also not omnipresent. Super Mario Logan reminds me of a time forgotten, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you agree with me, which is where this video comes in. But before we continue, the videos I create are made for 2 different reasons. 1, I like to entertain, and 2, I'm using them as a portfolio for when I go to college to study video production. Which is why I'm glad to say this video is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. Do you feel like your experience is holding you back from pursuing the career you want? Are you someone who wants a higher education but just can't afford it? Well, luckily for you, SNHU is one of the largest accredited non-profit online degree offerings in the country. Now, this university may not have a course on video production, but if you're someone looking to enter the content creation space, SNHU is a course just right for you. SNHU's social media marketing program is perfect for anyone looking to make their way in the online world. In this program, you'll learn how to leverage social media to engage consumers, build loyalty, and drive business. You'll also learn other vital digital marketing skills such as search engine optimization and how to run advertising campaigns. This is a great program if you want to be a content creator, community manager, or social media strategist. Honestly, I wish I went to this college before I started my channel. It would have helped out a lot. Even if you're not very financially stable, this university is still here for you. SNHU is radically affordable, and in fact, their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. Don't let your finances get in the way of good quality education. If Southern New Hampshire University is up your alley, go to my link, which is also in the description, snhu.edu/pappo, that's P-A-P-P-O, to see what the current average annual salary for a social media creator is, and request free information about the program. When you request information, a real person, not a chatbot, a real living, breathing person will hop on a call and discuss how the program can benefit you personally. It only takes one click to find your calling. Once again, go to my link, snhu.edu/pappo, that's P-A-P-P-O, to get started. Thank you to Southern New Hampshire University for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to talking about puppets. On February 18th, 2024, a post by Damie_Ann was made on Twitter.com.
I just got a DM about this website called SMLWIKI.com. It's supposedly a wiki for SML, but as you can tell, it's not really that. I was gonna make like a funny tweet about this, but like I genuinely don't know what to say. This is both fucking funny and strange. It speaks for itself.
The image attached seemed to be the front page for the website, and as you can see, it looks nothing like a Wikipedia page for Super Mario Logan. This looks like a website you would have to go to the depths of Google to find, but no. If you were to go online and search for SML Wiki, you would be surprised. In between various pages on the SML fandom wiki is, well, SMLWiki.com. To a child looking for information about Super Mario Logan, this probably looks normal. You can imagine someone searching for an SML wiki stumbling upon this website and clicking on it, being none the wiser on what SMLWiki.com actually is. But we know. And stalling for time won't make this website go away. Hopefully by the end, we can make some sense of this wiki, and piece together a story. If there is one to begin with. When you open the page for the first time, the first thing you see is this, as seen in Damien's Twitter post. For someone finding this website on accident, this is where they would click off and spend the rest of their night fearing for their life, thinking Marvin SML is going to jump out of their computer like Sadako Yamamura. But personally, this got me intrigued. I saw this more as an invitation rather than a locked gate. This is the home screen, where we will be spending most of our time. Compared to other wikis, this looks nothing like a home screen, or rather like something plucked straight from the brain of a trauma patient, but by definition, it's a home screen. The scene laid out in front of us features two different houses and the writhing corpse of Marvin. These two houses are the two different homes Super Mario Logan was filmed in, lovingly called New House and Old House. Something that I've noticed is that the apartment isn't here. I don't know if there's exactly a reason why the apartment's not here, but I just thought I should point that out. Starting off, we are given three different choices. We can visit the new house, explore the old house, or discover Marvin's corpse. The best course here, I feel like, would be going in order from left to right. Starting with visiting the new house. Huh. This is the cast page where we can find information on the people that produced SML videos. Disregarding what just happened, this does not look like any wiki page I've ever seen. It feels like I'm looking through a crime scene rather than a fan-run site that strives to report accurate information. The four photos from left to right are of the main creators of SML. Logan 30acre, creator of SML, and the primary voice of Marvin and Bowser Jr., Lance 30acre, brother to Logan and most notably the voice of Jeffy, Shrek, Black Yoshi, Mr. Goodman, and Jackie Chu, Ulysses Lavelle Stanton Jr., who portrays Charlie from Charlie and Friends, and the voice of Bowser, Toad, Chef Pee-Pee, Joseph, Tyrone, and, finally, Chris Netherton, known mostly by his stage name Pablo Sanchez and nickname Poobie, the voice of Cody and Brooklyn T. Guy. All four of these people voice other minor characters as well, but these are their most notable roles. Let's start from the right and work our way across. First, let's check out Logan. Instead of, well, any information about Logan 30acre, we are instead given an image of Logan's ID. Logan is either missing or no longer in the picture. There is no clear answer yet, but only time will tell. There isn't anything else here for you, so when you're ready, head back to the cast page. Next up is Lance. Well, we are given some information about Lance, but not in the way you'd expect.
Lance is a shape-shifting nocturnal deity. He engages with the fans more than the other cast members. Lance likes to have spontaneous meetups.
On the left is a gallery, showing Lance in the midst of his meetups, which seem to resemble cryptid sightings rather than fan meetups. And before you know it, Lance is approaching. Now, you can either stay here for all eternity, waiting for a threat that will never arrive, or you can leave. Nothing happens either way. Next up is Lavelle, and his page is the closest thing we have gotten to an actual wiki entry so far.
Lavelle is a mostly pure soul with a positive aura. How can any of us deny that? He is grateful and enthusiastic about being here.
I can definitely see that. Look at how full of joy he is. The wiki page gives a little bit of information about Lavelle that we already know, so I guess the wiki has done its job. But on this page, there's one more section. A section simply labeled as Line 3.
The ills keep suffocating the laws, keep its despicable nose clean, release a man in drag when I died. They put me in a glass room and they lowered me down, and I stood right back up and spat at their faces. I made fun of their guns and uniforms, but the noise never stopped. Efficacious pounding and pounding in my brain, and their faces was all red and round, and they cut me with their knives, but I didn't complain or cry. I stared back.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what the fuck this means. I honestly think it's just supposed to be unintelligible gibberish for the sake of it. Maybe it will make more sense later. There's one more thing on this page that a majority of you will probably not be able to find. In Lavelle's characters section, Charlie is clickable. When clicked on, it sends you to another page. SMLWIKI.com/Charlie with 3 Ys.
Hi guys, I'm Charlie.
The smiling face of Charlie is staring at us, with a button underneath him telling us to click it in order to meet Charlie. I mean, I don't know about you, but I want to meet Charlie. Let's go ahead and get used to this. A large majority of the site features flashing lights and loud noises. This site could genuinely give someone a seizure. As seen in the last cast member here, Poobie. Yeah, I have no words. I genuinely have no idea what the significance of Poobie's page is, if there is any at all. I think it's just for shock value more than anything. The image of Jesus that flashes on screen repeatedly is labeled as Angered God in the files of the website. Out of everything here, this is the only thing that will really come into play later, so just keep this in the back of your brain. Besides that, there isn't anything else inside the new house. If you are here to just laugh at something absurd, don't pay much attention to the new house. It's only really here to help you understand the story. Now that the new house is out of the way, our next stop is the old house, where instead of just visiting, as the wiki says, we are instead exploring the old house. The old house is, in reality, a game, simply titled House. We're dropped off in front of the old SML house, a one-story home located in Cantonment, Florida at 1550 Twin Pine Circle. This house was the location Logan filmed SML videos from the creation of the channel to 2015. In Universe, the characters moved to a new location, that being the apartment because Junior caused a large fire. In reality, Logan just simply moved. I've talked about Logan's living situation long enough, let's head inside. Inside the house, you can either continue forward into the dining room, or press the arrow at the bottom of the screen to go back to the entrance. If you decide you don't want to continue any further and go back the way you came, you'll find that the door is locked. You can't go back. You wanted to see the house. You did this to yourself. Heading into the dining room, you can either move to the right and enter the main hall, or to the left and enter the kitchen. The main hall feels more interesting, so I went there. Again, we are presented with 2 choices, either bedroom A or bedroom B. Both of them are what you'd expect. It's just the 2 bedrooms. You know, looking back at it, where exactly did they get these photos? I'm fairly certain they're not in any SML videos, so how? The way they're presented makes me feel like someone broke into the house and took these photos. The way the photos are just professional enough to have that aura of someone frantically taking photos of the surroundings fills me with a specific dread that I cannot describe. I've never been inside this house, yet I feel like I'm looking at photos of my own home someone took in the middle of the night. Inside the kitchen are, again, 2 options. There's another view of our surroundings over by the stove, and a piece of paper, lying on a table. A spotlight flashes above, guiding our attention to its presence. We're prompted to pick it up, and picking it up makes something strange happen. The goal has changed. There's someone in the house with us searching for us. If you were to check the other kitchen view, you'd notice this. It's too fast and too blurry to get an idea of whatever this creature is. If you tried to leave earlier, you'd remember the door being locked. There's no other way to leave, so we just have to hope for something different this time. Would you look at that? The door's open. Well, I can only assume it is, even the game doesn't know what they call it. Entering the static, we wind up in a concrete tunnel with a stop sign at the other end. We can't go back inside the house, and we can't proceed past the stop sign. It doesn't seem like there's a clear exit. At first, at least. As on the table to your right is an interactable object. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to be, it just looks like a blue rectangle. Regardless, clicking on it causes this to happen.
Hey, it's Super Mario Logan. You just beat my game. Good job.
After being congratulated by Logan, we are sent back to the start of House. The game is a time loop. There is no ending. We're forced to constantly repeat the same cycle over and over again until we decide to leave the page. However, there is something we missed. After picking up the piece of paper, anyone with at least a brainstem would try to leave, but for whatever reason, if you were to try to enter the main hall, this happens. Dying is the only way to break the cycle. Besides that, there isn't anything else inside House that I know of. Maybe something happens if you play the game over and over again, but I'm too impatient to spend an entire day picking up paper. Now, we visited the new house. We've explored the old house. The only thing left to do, the only thing I've been dreading, is discover Marvin's corpse. You know, this isn't as bad as I expected. Discover Marvin's corpse is, in reality, a shortcut to the characters page. This and the new house are the only things on this entire site that even closely resemble a wiki page. The character page is fairly small, all things considered. There are 5 pages for popular characters and 2 user submissions, those being the Golden Nugget and Sandman. Now, out of the 5 popular characters, only 4 have actual pages, and out of those 4, only 2 of them have any usable information. One of those is Marvin.
Marvin is a screaming, balding, red-in-the-face, lazy piece of fuck with absolutely zero tricks up his sleeve. He yells all the time, he isn't fast, his kicks are clumsy, he's got no submission defense, he has no ground skills, he has no head from his bimbo wife and is pure trash. I would eat him alive. Marvin is an extremely clonable and willing vessel, but not capable of creating useful results. He can be spotted in many facilities and sometimes the greater campus. I need to mention that I would happily eat Marvin, even in front of thousands of people. I would gladly eat him after I picked at his brain for 30 minutes straight.
Throughout Marvin's entire page, the text feels like it was written with pure vitriol and hatred for the Red Plumber. Whoever is responsible for the documentation on the site seems to despise Marvin and everything he stands for. The other page I want to bring to your attention is Shrek's. Out of the 5 popular characters, Shrek feels out of place. I'm fairly certain there was not one person who thinks of Shrek as their favorite SML character. His page is very interesting as it's not a real character page. It's a video. SMLWIKI.com/Barbus. I would not put it against you if you had no idea what this video meant. I don't even know what it means, and I'm the one making the video. There is no direct translation of the video that I know of, but there is the closest thing to one on the SMLWIKI Discord. Thank you to Amber or _frog101_ for the translation. This section of the video would not have been possible without you. this video is not just here for shock value. Reverse image searching any major frames leads to no results. To my knowledge, this video was made for the website, so the information here is important to understanding the rest of the site. I'm not exactly sure who the girl is, but I know who the disembodied voice of God is. The other important page I mentioned before is actually Junior's page.
Junior, with an unwavering gaze, peers into the souls of those in his midst. Return his stare, and you'll sense the haunting trifecta of despair, dread, and the inexorable specters of horror and death. I solemnly swear, it is not solely his eyes fixed upon me. It is as though he serves as a foreboding messenger, a sentinel with unseen shadows trailing behind him.
In the middle of Junior's page, the category labeled Visage, there is a text that reads, Junior has the face of God. This disembodied voice telling someone to off themselves is Junior, or, and this is my own personal theory, Logan. As Logan is technically a god to these puppets if you look at the greater picture. Logan is responsible for these characters moving, talking, interacting with each other. He is, by literal definition, a god. And by that logic, Logan is the voice of Junior. Junior has the face of God because God is his puppeteer. The rest of the characters page is just flavor text. I recommend reading through it with some friends if any of you were or are fans of SML. It's a fun time. Before that, however, we still have one more section to go over. Episodes. There are 3 episodes available on the website. The Food That Looks Good, Marvin's New Dance, and Misery. Let's start with The Food That Looks Good. It's the only name in the list that feels like a weird amalgamation of different words without any real meaning.
The Food That Looks Good is your typical modern SML slop full of everything we've come to dread but expect. It was voted worst SML movie of the year last year for a reason. Facts about production. This was the last video starring a living Jeffy. You can watch the shitfest by looking to your left, where it is.
The videos on this site resemble YTPs more than actual SML videos. A YTP, or YouTube poop, is a type of video created by editing and mixing and mashing pre-existing media sources to create something new. They've existed before YouTube was created, but YouTube has been their home since then. The Food That Looks Good does not mean anything in particular. It's solely here for the fun of it. I still recommend watching the video, it's funny for its sheer absurdity. The one after this in order is Marvin's New Dance, which starts off completely different than The Food That Looks Good. Marvin's New Dance, instead of playing another video directly on the website, sends you to a YouTube video with the same name. The video is almost a one-to-one to one of those old 5 Little Monkey videos that were created in bulk during Elsagate. The only difference is this isn't meant for kids. The video shows us what exactly happened to the Marvin on the landing page. It also shows us exactly what his page meant by an extremely clonable and willing vessel. There is more than one Marvin currently alive, which shouldn't be possible. Marvin is a puppet. He's not a living being. The channel this video is connected to goes by the name Mario Cartoons, which is also shown at the end of The Food That Looks Good. Mario Cartoons features the same videos as SMLWiki.com, with a few outliers found only on this channel. The channel leads directly back to SMLWiki.com, so let's go back there and look at the final piece of this website. Misery. And actually no, we won't be going over this yet. This video is the theoretical end to the website. When the website was first created, this was the finale. The video directly says it, the page thanks you for stopping by, it's the end of the site. On February 24, 2024, Damie_Ann would make his final post on SMLWiki.com.
The site has been updated once more. New pages have been created, including ones for characters. There are new secrets to uncover as well, so be sure to look out for those. Okay, bye.
SML Wiki is not over. In fact, we just got started. Reopening the website, you'll probably notice something new right out of the gate. It's Logan. Isn't Logan dead? Regardless, Logan isn't here just for show, he's actually clickable. Clicking on Logan brings you here. The disembodied head of Logan stares at your cursor, following your exact movements. He looks as if he's grimacing, possibly angry at his condition or at you, as when you try to leave, Logan is now gone, and he won't show up again. Once you see him, he's gone forever. As stated in Damien's tweet, new characters have been added. More were added between his tweet and now, but I'll be looking through the rest of the site in the state it is right now. If I could go back, I would. Read these pages if you want to, but they don't add much to the grand story. Some do, but most of them are people trying to replicate the writing style, and it's not my cup of tea. The main point of the update is actually something hidden. On the landing page, if you hover over the bottom left of the page, you might notice the name of the tab changing. Instead of saying SMLWIKI like usual, the name is glitching in and out of the words delete hill F. Now, what exactly is hill F? If you use inspect element on the landing page, one of the images is labeled as, well, hill F. If you follow the instructions and delete the image, a new option is available. It's labeled houses, but obviously doesn't bring you to another house. It brings you to a computer. Welcome to the meat of SMLWIKI. The computer is an odd case. It doesn't work the same as anything else on the site. It's in a league of its own. There are only two applications on the computer, a notepad and the internet. The notepad throughout my entire time on this website was not used in any way. The only reason to use this computer is the internet. When opening the internet browser, the computer automatically boots up the SML fandom wiki. Most sites on this computer are blocked, as the purpose of this computer lies in the sticky note directly underneath the screen. The sticky note has a link written, smlwiki.com/terrace. If you try searching for this website on your browser right now, you will be redirected to the SMLWIKI landing page. The only way you can access Terrace is through the computer. If you type in the link in the search bar, you will be met with this. Terrace is a website used to input 6-letter codes. If you try putting in random letters, you won't get anything, obviously. But in the top left of the screen, text shows up that reads, "Nothing yet. Later, maybe." This text shows up for any 6-letter code not used or not currently on the website. But where exactly do you find the codes? If you pay attention to the "nothing yet" text, you will probably notice certain letters capitalized in the middle of words. If you put all the capitalized letters together, you get one try. This is the first code for the site. If you put the code into the text box, a video will download. It doesn't download to your computer, but the link is clickable. The videos are all labeled the same as the code, so in this case, the video is titled onetry.mp4. Now, I tried to find the origin of this video. I tried to look at old SML videos to see if there's a match for any of the scenes, but I can't find anything. Doesn't match any SML videos, doesn't match any plush videos, and I'm not even sure if the video was made for the site or if it's from something else. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. If this was your first time interacting with Terrace, this video hopefully shows you that you need to be on the lookout for 6-letter codes. The Mario plush in One Try is actually another clue. Mario is or was a character in SML. After the cease and desist, Mario turned into an actual puppet, and his name was changed to Marvin. If you try to put Marvin in the text box, you get another code. The video consists of clips from Marvin's new dance, the outside of the school featured in multiple SML videos, and a single frame from the outro to Mario cartoons. Like One Try, this video doesn't mean much. The name of the school is Why You Dumb, but that isn't a code. Only 2 codes in and we've already hit a roadblock. While trying to search for another code, I went back and took a look at Marvin's page, and in doing so, I noticed something. The description underneath Marvin's image is centered. It's the only text like this on the entire website. Intrigued, I zoomed into the text, and very faintly, just slightly too dim to read, is another code. GNDWUO. You know, I didn't really know what to expect, but it definitely was not this. GNDWUO brings us to an actual application instead of just a video. This application is simply titled Marvin.exe. I mean, it does make sense, we found this on Marvin's page, I just wasn't expecting it to look like this. We are dropped off in a plane that seems to resemble the landing page in style. The Marvin sprite, and I might be entirely wrong, seems to be a redraw of the E.T. Atari sprite, but Mario themed. We can move left and right, but that's about it. Moving to the right for a few moments causes us to be jump scared by Shrek and brought to another landscape. This is the only other time Shrek shows up on this website. The characters page and this page. This new landscape to me looks like the front of the old SML house. The site seems to be focusing on this house in some way. Does it hold significance or is it just for show? As you walk to the right again, you'll probably notice a big brick in the background. This slab of meat has the faces of puppets on it. I think it's fair to say that this game is telling us that puppets make up the meat found all throughout the website and the landing page. We had to physically cut through the emulsified remains of puppets in order to get to this computer. The blood of these puppets are on your hands. I hope you're happy, I'm not. As you continue moving, eventually we encounter a button. Stepping on the button causes the game to invert colors and change gravity, with us now on the ceiling of the game window. Our only option is to head back the way we came, until, eventually, the game changes. Does Sad Satan ring a bell? Sad Satan was a supposed horror game created by a user on the dark web under the pseudonym ZK. The earliest known video on the game was uploaded by the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner. There's no way to play the version of Sad Satan featured in the video, and due to the fact there was no information about the game before the video, some people believe Obscure Horror Corner themselves were the creator of the game. But there's no real way to know for certain. If you want to stay out of prison, do not play Sad Satan. There is a version of the game that was playable, but there's a high chance you will probably go to jail by playing the game because, I am not joking, the game shows cheese pizza, not the cheese pizza you eat like the other kind. This section of Marvin.exe feels like a direct parody of Sad Satan. As we walk down the hallway, you might notice the doors to your right. One of them is locked, but the other one is open. Inside, you find this. I'm not sure what I'm looking at, so I just no, bye. Back into the hallway, eventually the voice of a girl reading off numbers starts playing in the background. This audio is, again, a direct nod to Sad Satan. The audio comes from the Midsummer Vodka Swedish Rhapsody #1 number station, a station used to send coded messages to intelligence agents in the Western Bloc. This does not mean much when it comes to Marvin.exe, I just wanted to point it out. As you walk down the hallway, the screen starts shaking, and as you continue, the shaking gets more and more violent, until it stops.
But the scene was too gruesome. Blood strewn across the floorboards, soaking into the carpet. The victim's back was split apart, hands and feet severed off at the joints. Every inch of skin had been ripped at and peeled away, the red silhouette of a thin human. She died without an ounce of mercy.
This text is not exclusive to Marvin.exe. In fact, this text was able to be viewed before the computer was ever added. On Poopy's page, the last paragraph is the exact same text featured here. What we just went through was one set of codes. At the time of writing the script, there are 10 different codes, there are now 12. Some of these codes are connected to each other, and by that I mean you need the previous code to get to the next one, so on and so forth. With these codes, there are 2 different paths. One path features One Try, Marvin, and GNDWUO. I like to refer to this path as the Marvin path. Everything here relates to Marvin or Mario in some way. There is one outlier when it comes to these codes. I mean, technically there are 3, but just you'll get what I mean in a second. If you remember the clickable GIF of Logan on the landing page, there's actually something we need to do here. It isn't accessible from the main menu anymore, so you have 2 choices. Either A, delete your cookies and refresh the page, which is a cop-out, or B, Google SMLWIKI.com/Logan. The sequence where Logan flashes on screen is actually really important. If you hover your mouse over Logan's face during this section, a sequence of 6 letters show up. Coincidentally, the exact same length of a terrorist code. APDHIR. I tried searching for exactly what this means. As soon as I saw it, I immediately thought of the word AFED, but obviously that has nothing to do with the website. Going back to the computer and using the code opens another application. APDHIR brings you to a small room. The camera pans from the window with the text stuck here in the lower left of the screen. In the window is the silhouette, which is, in fact, the creature from House. There are no doors to leave, no exit. We are stuck here, as the game says. There is a table, and on the table is a computer. The exact same computer we are currently using. After a few moments, the silhouette disappears from the window and shows up inside the room. And from there, nothing happens. It's just you, the computer, and him. This silhouette has his own wiki page. Most of the information is things we already know, but there is a paragraph under other information that may be helpful.
Some claim Lance got his powers through a connection to Silhouette, whether the entity manifested or later through some spiritual supernatural event, or even a curse. Though this makes logical sense, it is only speculation.
In APDHIR, you look out a window and see the silhouette. And if you close the browser, the wallpaper is Lance looking out a window. As of now, I believe this code is the closest thing we get to seeing how Lance became a shape-shifting nocturnal deity. The computer we have been using, the computer this entire thing centers around, is Lance's computer. That's why Terrace is only accessible through the computer, because it's specifically designed for Lance to see and only Lance. And that's why APDHIR is not connected to any code. Each set of codes show you the story of something specific. APDHIR is only here to show you Lance's backstory and nothing else. It doesn't need to connect to anything because it isn't connected. We only have a few more codes left to find. Get ready because all of these are connected. It's a straight shot to the finish line. You got this. I have no idea how you were supposed to find this, but the first Terrace code in this path is found on Judy Nutkiss, Cody's mom's page.
Judith was the mother of Cody. She lived a fulfilling life, having many affairs until her husband found out. She was 42. Nowadays, she screams for her child. Her whole disgusts me. Brown hair with pale skin, wears an old pink jacket and appears to be fat. Massive hole where her face used to reside.
The page mentions Judith's face hole multiple times, and this isn't just because. If you hover over her face, you get sucked in. You are sent to another page. The page is a blank screen. There's nothing. So what if you highlight all the text? There we go. Highlighting the text makes a 6-letter code show up on the bottom of the screen. GMIHEN. When heading back to the top of the page, you get jump scared. This image of Jeffy seems to be an edited version of the SML Amazing Grace video. GMIHEN drops you into a white room with various Marvin clones jumping up and down and 2 eyes staring at you at all times. The audio in the background is an extended cut of Marvin's new dance that loops repeatedly. There is nothing specific to do here, but there is something of importance we need to find. GMIHEN is another interactable page. You can walk around aimlessly, but if you head towards the right, you'll find another code on the ground, surrounded by Marvins. This is another Terrace code, written as ZDEUFR. When you're done watching the Marvins dance, head back to Terrace. We're brought to another white room. This time, the room seems dilapidated. The color is gone, and what was originally happy dancing Marvins are instead cardboard cutouts strewn across the floor. It's my belief that GMIHEN is what the Marvins see, and ZDEUFR is our reality. A puppet is not meant to see the depravity and horror of the world. They are meant to be for children's entertainment. They are meant to be a symbol of childhood and fun. But we see the world for what it truly is. Laid across the walls are various pieces of writing, some being nonsensical and others helping us later down the line. The most important thing here is a word on the right wall. This word is misery, the name of the last video we haven't watched. The name just so happens to be 6 letters, the same length of a Terrace code. Now, before you think about leaving ZDEUFR, you should bring your attention to the window in the middle of the room. When you walk up to it, the game crashes. The image that shows up on screen is labeled as Stanton in the files. Stanton is the last name of Lavelle. And Misery shows a cul-de-sac, with Charlie walking across the screen. Charlie is portrayed by Lavelle. This is the only purpose of Misery. It's trying to tell us a message that we need to revisit Lavelle's page. Everything right now is trying to bring our attention to Lavelle's wiki page, so why don't we take a look?
The sands of time and gaze of death. Some call it fate, or even destiny. But to me, this is war. Everything has a cost.
Everything has a cost, huh? Interesting. If you look at the text, the letters in the middle of certain words are capitalized again. If you take the letters and put them in a sequence, you get EDUICT, another code. UDICT is our only look at an event referred to on the website as the Day of Imbalance. caused by an otherworldly deity known as a Theon, the goddess of hue. And I quote, "Sometime in the last 6,000
years, the day of imbalance befell us, resulting in the overturning of Earth and transmogrifying our existence into what it is today. It is well documented that the imbalance and resentment of Earth occurred in tandem, and it is of common belief that the goddess, previously considered a Chuya protector of life and virtue, caused or had a massive hand in the event. Atheon was responsible for the regeneration of Pubi and provided him with his sublime powers. It was once of common belief that Pubi had become forever eternal from his dispense. But in actuality, Pubi reincarnates every 100 years. His brain is preserved in all its purity, unlike the rest of his body."
I know this is a large lore dump, but we aren't done with the codes yet. We have a few more important codes to go through before we can piece this story together. My apologies for blueballing you, but I can't tell you everything without everything being included. It's only fair. One of the last codes we can find is on the page for Misery. In the text box I have blurred since we first got here, if you were to use Ctrl-A and highlight the entire page, you would find a code. Outberk. When you're ready, head back to the computer. We wake up inside of a facility. Test tubes around us appear to be broken. Whatever was inside is now roaming free. Exiting the room, we enter a long hallway. None of the doors are accessible, and what looks like to be crusted over blood covers the path we must walk. At the end is an exit, and once we cross the threshold, the game crashes. I like to believe that this game is our look at the cloning facilities referred to on Marvin's page. These facilities were used to clone the puppets, and through some event they broke down and the imperfect vessels escaped. This is not the only cloning facility, this is just one of many. If this video was released back in March, this would be the point where I move on to trying to solve the story. The theory I had originally was nothing more than a crackpot theory and was rather bad. In the middle of editing this video, the site was updated, and with that update came an ending. There are 2 more codes, and one of these codes will lead us to what we've been trying to find. I hope you're ready. In order to solve SMLWIKI, we have to go back to GNDWUO. During the sequence where the screen flips upside down, next to the puppet meat slab is a series of letters that are just barely visible. If you highlight these letters and flip the image, you get the word A Agony. A Agony is another playable code. Opening the game, we see this. It's a grave. The text reads, "Rest in peace, OEDCYX. This is our final code. When you're ready, open the file. This is it. This is what we were trying to find. This is Jeffy's character page. We've gone through all these loops, going down rabbit holes of rabbit holes of rabbit holes, all for this. This page will answer all our questions. At least, I hope so. We spawn inside a room with a broken character page in front of us. We are under a time limit, so whatever we are here to do, we have to do it fast. To our left and right are 2 different doors. And behind us, an exit. Before I did anything, I tried to leave. Ending B. The cycle repeats. Obviously, this is the bad ending, so let's try again. Heading to the left, we find a slab of meat trapped within glass. This slab of meat is the core of Super Mario Logan. We can't do anything about it, so our only option is to head back to the main room and go to the right. This area looks to be a surveillance room. Multiple monitors are sitting on a table, most being turned off, besides one. The only one visible shows multiple clones of SML puppets escaping, something we've seen before. Pressing E on the table causes one monitor to light up, and through this monitor, we see ourselves. We are playing as Jeffy. We'll come back to this later. On the table next to the monitors is a hammer. We could use this on the core, but I'm not sure that's a good idea. There doesn't seem to be anything else that we can use it on, so I guess that's our only choice. When you're ready, break the system. This gives us the other and final ending. Ending A. It's a happy end. Marvin is alive, the day of imbalance seems to be over, Everything seems back to normal. We have unlocked one more page by finishing this website. This page is only accessible through this screen. So, what is this page? It's the real SML Wiki, before the Day of Imbalance. Jeffy's page is still intact. The text has actual information for us to view instead of being nonsensical rambling. This is what SML Wiki should have been, but it's not. And this is where my theory starts. Before we get into this, I'm not sure if anything I'm about to say is necessarily right. I believe it is, but the story might be entirely different, and if you disagree with me, I recommend checking out the website yourself, and maybe sharing your story in the comments. I like reading your theories, I like hearing what I may have missed. Now, let's get into solving the story of SML Wiki. It's what you were here for, after all. You would think the ending is, well, the ending, but it's not. At least that's the case for Ending A. Ending A is not the end of the story. In fact, it's the beginning. SML Wiki begins with this ending. In this universe, the puppets are alive. I'm not exactly sure why, maybe through some means similar to that of a tulpa, but for this website, you do have to suspend your disbelief. The merch SML has for sale are, in this universe, clones. The cloning facilities are a direct metaphor for the factories these plush and puppets come from. Misery is the start of this story, as Charlie shows up in the window found in Ending A in the exact same way as the Misery code and the video sharing the same name. I have not shared the video up to this point because of two different reasons. One, the flashing lights are unbearable, and two, all the music is copyrighted. For instances that I do have to show the video, the music's going to be changed, but I do recommend watching it yourself. The video is both a lore piece and a type of content referred to as Chinese core, which is just surrealist YTP edits of SML. My theory for Misery is this is the original Marvin, the one from the landing page going on a rampage after gaining sentience and finding the cloning facilities. At the same time, Jeffy is infiltrating the house. I haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm pretty sure the green hue-shifted Patrick Bateman is supposed to be Shrek. Jeffy is being watched by Shrek as he enters the house, heads into an elevator, and goes into the dark. Here's the thing. Right after the video loads a YTP. It's a separate thing. We never find out what happened to Jeffy. Until the ending. Jeffy, while under a time limit, finds a hammer and destroys the heart of SML, the core keeping it intact. While this is going on, the clones are escaping, the same scene from the Outbreak code. SML should be gone, yet it still functions, without a heart. This should not be possible, it's imbalanced. This action draws the attention of a Theon, and using Pooby as a vessel for an angry god, the Day of Imbalance starts. Wait, hang on, how did we get here? Why did Jeffy break the core? There's one specific scene in Misery that I feel answers this. There's a scene towards the middle of the video with Jeffy surrounded by quotes of a religious aspect. We know these puppets are alive, so do they need to sleep? Jeffy has brain damage. He would be more easily manipulated by an outer god. The reason why Jeffy caused the Day of Imbalance is because a Theon contacted Jeffy directly through his dreams using the Hop Hop Bunny as a vessel. The bunny never shows up directly, but visions of him appear multiple times. Misery, ZDEUFR, he shows up, but never physically. The site gives importance to it, but it doesn't do anything. Because the bunny isn't real. It's a Theon, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Jeffy was tricked by a god to cause a cataclysmic, post-apocalyptic event that destroyed and altered everything relating to or about the channel. I can't say for certain if the entire world was affected, but SML was for sure. The Day of Imbalance caused the death of the cast members. Chris, Lavelle, Logan, they all died. Lance? I'm not too sure about. APDHIR shows Lance meeting with an otherworldly figure, but I'm not sure when this takes place. I'd assume somewhere close to the Day of Imbalance, but I'm not too sure. For the sake of this theory, Lance's fate is ambiguous. Even if he is alive, he is absolutely out of the picture, so it doesn't really matter. With no one left to run SML, the channel fell to the puppets, which is where we are today. The puppets recreated Super Mario Logan with their own twisted mind, turning it into Mario cartoons. The puppets create the food that looks good and Marvin's new dance, which do not turn out well. The puppets don't understand humor. They're not people, they don't know what the word funny means, which causes people to dislike the series. It's a gross approximation of what someone thinks a plush show should be based on algorithms. And in the food that looks good, Jeffy dies. He is canonically dead. Ending A cannot take place after the story because by that point, Jeffy's dead. Ending B is the real ending. Much like House, the site is a time loop. Every time you beat ending A, the world resets. Misery happens all over again, the day of imbalance, the death of Jeffy, life repeats like a fucked up Groundhog's Day. SML was popular. It was a sensation. But everything has a cost. And that cost is SMLWIKI. Still, there's something I've been keeping from you. I've kept the description for Misery hidden from you, and it's not for the reason you'd expect. There's nothing bad on the website, nothing illegal or immoral, no. All it shows are the creators of the website, Nezuwai, Lunakama, and Amine. But there is one specific line right at the end. And this line is why the description has been blurred.
Thanks for browsing. This is not an ARG.
SMLWIKI is not an ARG. Now, I know the fact that this is the case may shock you. From a cursory glance, it does look like one. It feels like one. At least at the start it does. And then you watch Misery and the curtain is lifted. SMLWIKI is not an ARG. It never was and it never will be. I didn't tell you at the beginning because, well, I thought it was one at first. But then after finding out it wasn't, something changed. I stopped looking at the website as another horror series, another piece of media made to capitalize on a trend or merge itself with the wider populace. No. I saw it for what it was. Art. SMLWIKI is art in the best form it can be. It does things not out of a necessity, but because it can. I waited to tell you the truth because I wanted to ask you a very important question. Does the fact that SMLWIKI is not an ARG make you dislike it? You watched up to this point, you have to at least be a bit invested, so do you still like it? When I stream, I usually get asked at least twice about my favorite ARG, and I never give an exact answer. And the reason why is simple. I don't like the term ARG. I'm not saying I don't like ARGs, I'm just saying I don't like the term. Calling your work an ARG locks you into a bubble that you can't get out of once you start. And more often than not, you get sucked into doing the same things 30 other projects have done before you. And because of that, people will not like your work. They won't interact, they will not enjoy it. Because they'll think your project is another Marble Hornets or another Angel Gabby or another Petscop when it's not. I love seeing art. I love seeing people create art because the fact that someone has enough courage to share the work to the world is enough for me to want to see it, to want to interact with it. It might be bad, it might be awful, but the fact you are creating is enough for me. The people watching this video, you guys are all creative. I know you are, and I hope you do too, because I believe in you. I know it's hard to put yourself out there, believe me, I do this shit anonymous. But no matter what you do, there will always be at least one person who's there for you. Could be a family member, could be a fan, could be a stranger on the internet, doesn't matter. There will always be at least one person there for you. And hopefully that's enough for you to create. SMLWIKI is one of my favorite art pieces, and I hope that, at this point, you agree with me. People on this platform, and also Twitter, have decided to call SMLWIKI an ARG when it's not. I hope this video can help change that narrative. And because of this, I reached out to the main creator of the website, Nezuwai, to see if he wanted to answer a few questions relating to the site. And to my surprise, he answered. Hello, just wanted to reach out. Not exactly sure if you're the main creator of SMLWIKI, but I'm currently working on a video about the website because it just genuinely fascinates me as a concept. The video is not going to portray the website as an ARG or anything similar. I just wanted to make something because I am in love with the website. It's art in its best form. If you feel comfortable, is there any way I could ask you a few questions to get the other side of the creation? The method to the madness, if you get what I mean. Let me know if you want to, if not, perfectly fine. I understand.
For sure, thanks for reaching out. We're a small team, but I bought the domain, had the idea, and coded 99% of it.
Cool. Thank you for being okay with answering a few questions. First off, number 1, is there a specific reason as to why SMLWIKI was created, or was it just made for fun?
I was working on my final YouTube video when the opportunity came along to include a fake watermark bit. At the same time, I wanted to get back into web development after a long break, and I happened to be accredited to buy a .com domain for dirt cheap. Me and Amini drew the SMLWIKI conclusion since we're both nostalgically obsessed with SML and creepypastas like .exes, and it fit the theme of the YTP. And I wanted to make the site actually interactive instead of just redirecting to the YTP or something lame like that. So I just got to making the landing page and he made some of the first pictures for the character pages. I had the idea for the house game and we got most of it done in about 2 weeks. The site and the video were developed alongside each other. A little later on, I went back to a couple scrapped ideas, the computer, and a way for people to submit their own pages, which are now the main focus, I suppose.
Genuinely, that is really fucking cool.
If you have any more questions, I'm still down to answer them, but may be a little slower to respond.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry it took me so long to respond. Number 2, is the stain for modern SML featured on the website genuine? Is it exaggerated?
Super exaggerated. I've been watching them since I was 8. I'm 20 now, lol. So despite how distant the new stuff feels from what I loved about it, I could never grow to outright hate it.
I get that. The site shows it in a way that it's genuinely hard to tell if it's real or not. Number 3. Before SMLWiki got relatively popular, is there anything you wish you did differently in its creation?
A lot, LMAO. I don't think I would have made the Discord server. Running that and coding the website is like running 2 stressful jobs at once. Probably wouldn't have attached my name on the misery page and had it list Mario cartoons instead or something. And if I'd known this many eyes would be on it, I probably would have enlisted more help instead of doing so much on my own. Those are just 3, lol.
Yeah, doing stuff on your own is good to get your vision across, but when it gets to this level, it becomes a full-time job, like you said.
100%.
Number 4. Will there ever be a conclusive end to the website? Will it just keep going until there are no more ideas?
Yes, out of necessity. I was gonna dedicate this month and the latter half of February to other projects, but had to set them aside, lol. I have a loose deadline for the end of SMLWiki, and it's very soon. But I'm also trying not to half-ass it.
Yeah, in my opinion, the site feels like it's reaching the climax or something similar. It's got all the pieces, just not the big finish. Only got 2 questions left. Number 5. Bit of an odd question, but is anything on the website considered non-canon? Is there a canon to begin with?
I've tried to at least draft up an overarching story more recently, trying to account for popular theories, which I really love. Not very much on the site goes against that, since I'm considering even the page submissions from fans/users. But some things like redacted are just Easter eggs and aren't clues or lore relevant.
Oh, alright, I get you. Thank you for clearing that up. One last question. It doesn't really have to do with the website itself, but number 6. Do you have any advice for creators wanting to experiment with their art?
Be open to explore and learn new tools and methods to see your project through. Instead of sacrificing ideas or pushing out something you aren't satisfied with, let some things be a unique process instead of a routine. Compromise in ways that still fulfill you and honor your creation, rather than to meet some calculated limitation like a means to an end. In art, you discipline yourself. So remember to be kind to yourself and your art.
SMLWiki.com is one of the most polarizing pieces of media I have ever had the pleasure of talking about. It doesn't fit itself in a box, it's not an ARG, it doesn't have hidden lore or anything stretching past the website. It's just a website. And I love it. The first time I ever visited the site, I was filled with childlike wonder in a way that I have not felt in a long time. It's the same feeling you get from places and games you were never meant to access, but always feel like something you were supposed to see. You spend days trying to access this area and it never leads anywhere because it was never a thing. It was never supposed to be a thing. The only reason you thought there was something there was because of your own curiosity. And that's the feeling I get from this website. Over and over again, I checked the website, hoping for something new, putting in codes I thought were real, only to be met with the same screen every time. It never went anywhere, but the hunt was enough for me. It felt great trying to solve a mystery that didn't have a purpose. Not everything needs to be grandiose in scale to be enjoyable. You don't have to be an ARG to be interesting. Staying far away from ARGs, making your piece of art just, well, art, is fine too. And that's why I love SMLWiki. It's not an ARG, it's not internet horror, it's just a website. It can be considered digital horror, but still, it's just a website. And to anyone looking to make your own art, try new things. There will always be people interested in your work. It takes guts to bring yourself out to the world. And that's enough for me.